The house. Nobody could enter. They said the house had been empty for 50 years. No lights, no cars, no footprints in the snow. Just a dead, leaning house at the end of Black Pine Road, where the trees grew too close together and the wind always sounded like someone whispering your name. Everyone in town knew the rule: do not go inside, not because the house was locked, not because it was dangerous, but because the house did not let people leave the same way they entered. Most people treated it like an old legend, a story parents told children so they would not wander too far from home. But Daniel Reed never believed in stories. He believed in cameras, proof, evidence, things you could hold in your hand and say, "See, this is real." Daniel ran a small channel online where he explored abandoned places, old schools, empty hospitals, forgotten churches with broken stained glass windows. His videos were quiet, slow, and eerie. People liked that, but they always wanted more. More danger, more fear, more places nobody else was brave enough to visit. That was how Daniel found the house on Black Pine Road. The message came from someone named M. No profile picture, no real name, just one sentence. If you want your channel to grow, film the house at the end of Black Pine Road. At first, Daniel ignored it. Then another message came. Go after midnight, do not knock. If you hear someone upstairs, leave. Daniel laughed when he read that, but he did not delete the message. For 3 nights, he thought about it. On the 4th night, he packed his camera, flashlight, extra batteries, and a small microphone. Then he drove to Black Pine Road. The road was narrow and wet from an earlier rain. His headlights cut through the darkness, showing only dead leaves, crooked branches, and fog crawling low across the ground. There were no streetlights, no houses nearby. After 10 minutes, Daniel saw it. The house stood beyond a rusted gate, half hidden behind dead trees. It was tall, black, and rotting. The roof sagged in the middle. The porch leaned forward like it was tired. Most of the windows were broken or boarded up, but one window upstairs had a curtain, a clean white curtain. Daniel stopped the car. He stared at it. Then he smiled nervously and turned on his camera. "This is Daniel Reed," he whispered. "I'm here at the old house on Black Pine Road. Locals say nobody has lived here for 50 years. He pointed the camera at the house. "But there's a curtain upstairs that looks almost new." He zoomed in. The curtain moved. Daniel froze. There was no wind. He lowered the camera and looked with his own eyes. The curtain was still. He laughed under his breath. Old house, drafts, nothing more. He climbed over the gate and walked up the muddy driveway. Every step sounded too loud. The house seemed bigger the closer he got. His flashlight passed over the porch. There were old, muddy footprints leading to the front door. Bare footprints, small ones, like a child's. Daniel stopped recording. He looked behind him. His own footprints were there in the mud. Boot prints, deep and fresh, but the child's footprints were already dry, even though the ground was wet. Daniel swallowed. Then he turned the camera back on. "Okay," he whispered. "That's strange." He followed the footprints up the porch. The front door was shut. He tried the handle, locked. Then, from inside the house, something knocked back. 3 slow knocks. Daniel jumped away from the door. His breath caught in his throat. For a moment, he did not move. Then he forced himself to laugh. "Probably pipes," he said to the camera. But the house had no electricity, no water. No one had lived there in half a century. Daniel moved around the side of the house. The child's footprints did not continue. They ended at the front door. On the left side of the house, he found another door, a kitchen door. It was open just enough for darkness to show through. Daniel pushed it. The door cried on its hinges. Inside, the air was freezing, colder than outside. His flashlight revealed an old kitchen. Dust-covered counters, a cracked sink, cabinets hanging open, a table in the center of the room. There were plates on the table, forks, cups, and food. Not fresh food, not rotten food, just gray, dry shapes that looked like something had once been served and then forgotten. Daniel moved closer. There were 4 plates, 4 chairs, but only 3 chairs were pulled out. The 4th chair was pushed in perfectly, at the head of the table. Daniel whispered, "This is creepy." Then he heard it, a soft creak above him. 1 step, then another. Someone was walking upstairs. Daniel held his breath. The sound stopped directly above the kitchen. He pointed the camera at the ceiling. "Hello?" he called. The house answered with silence. Then a voice whispered from upstairs, "Daniel." His blood went cold. He stepped backward, nearly tripping over a broken board. He had not said his full name since starting the video outside, and that was only into the camera, not loud enough for anyone inside to hear. "Who's there?" he shouted. No answer. Then the upstairs floor creaked again. This time, the footsteps moved toward the staircase. Daniel wanted to leave. Every part of him told him to run. But another part of him, the part that wanted proof, views, and answers, kept him still. He moved toward the hallway. The staircase was narrow and covered in dust. At the bottom step lay a child's toy, a small wooden horse. It looked freshly painted. Red saddle, black eyes. Daniel bent down and touched it. The horse rocked by itself, once, twice. Then it tipped over. From upstairs, a child laughed. Daniel ran. He did not care about his camera angle. He did not care about the video. He ran through the kitchen, out the side door, across the yard, through the gate, and back to his car. He locked the doors. His hands were shaking so hard he dropped the keys twice before starting the engine. As he drove away, he looked in the rearview mirror. The upstairs window was glowing. A pale yellow light filled the room behind the white curtain, and standing in the window was a figure, small, still, watching him leave. Daniel did not sleep that night. He uploaded none of the footage. Instead, he watched it over and over. The kitchen, the plates, the toy horse, the footsteps, the whisper. Daniel. He played that part 20 times. It was there, clear as day. A voice, not loud, not close, but unmistakable. Daniel. The next morning, he decided to go back. Not at night, not alone. He brought his friend Marcus. Marcus was a skeptic too, but not the brave kind. He complained the whole drive. "This is how horror movies start," Marcus said. Daniel laughed, but he looked tired. "I just need daytime footage, then I'm done." They reached the house just before noon. In daylight, it looked worse. Less haunted maybe, but more dead. The fog was gone. The trees were bare. The house looked like a corpse sitting in the open. Marcus stared at it. "Man," he said quietly, "something about this place feels wrong." Daniel did not answer. He was looking at the mud. His footprints from the night before were gone. The child's footprints were still there, dry, perfect, leading to the front door. Marcus noticed them too. "You said it rained yesterday." "Yeah, and those are dry?" Daniel nodded. Marcus took a step back. "Nope." "Come on," Daniel said. "Just stay outside if you want." Daniel walked to the side door. It was closed now. He was sure he had left it open. He pushed it, locked. Marcus folded his arms. "Great, we can leave." But Daniel tried again. This time the door opened easily. Marcus cursed under his breath. Inside, the kitchen was exactly the same, except the table had changed. There were still 4 plates, but now 1 chair was pulled out. The 4th chair, the one at the head of the table. On the plate in front of it was Daniel's camera battery, the spare battery he had lost the night before. Daniel stared at it. He reached out slowly. Marcus grabbed his arm. "Don't touch that." Daniel pulled away. "It's mine." The second his fingers touched the battery, the front door slammed somewhere in the house. Marcus shouted. Daniel spun around. The hallway was dark even though sunlight came through the kitchen windows. Something moved at the far end. A shadow crossed from one room to another. Marcus whispered, "Did you see that?" Daniel nodded. Then they heard breathing. Not from the hallway, Not from upstairs, from under the table. Marcus stepped back. Daniel lowered the camera. Under the kitchen table, a little girl was crouched in the darkness. Her hair covered her face. Her dress was old and pale. Her bare feet were muddy. Daniel could not move. Marcus screamed. The girl lifted one hand and pointed toward the staircase. Then she whispered, "He's awake." Every door in the house slammed at once. Marcus bolted. Daniel followed. They ran outside and did not stop until they reached the gate. Marcus climbed over first. Daniel was halfway over when something grabbed his backpack. It pulled hard. He fell backward into the mud. Marcus grabbed his wrist and pulled. For one terrible second, Daniel felt something pulling from the other side. Something strong, something angry. Then his backpack ripped open. The force vanished. Marcus dragged him over the gate. They stumbled to the car. As they drove away, Daniel looked back. His backpack was hanging from the gate, but not on the inside. It was hanging on the outside, neatly zipped closed. Marcus did not speak for almost 5 minutes. Then he said, "Delete the footage." Daniel looked down at the camera in his lap. The red recording light was still blinking. That night, Marcus refused to answer Daniel's calls, so Daniel watched the footage alone. At first, everything looked normal. The kitchen, the battery, the shadow, the breathing. Then came the moment under the table. Daniel paused the video. The little girl was there. But behind her, deep in the darkness beneath the table, was another face. Long, pale, smiling. Daniel slammed the laptop shut. A knock came from his apartment door. 3 slow knocks. Daniel stood frozen. He lived on the 3rd floor. His building was locked. No one could get upstairs without being buzzed in. The knocks came again. He grabbed a kitchen knife and walked to the door. "Who is it?" No answer. He looked through the peephole. No one. Then he looked down. At the bottom of the door, something slid through the gap. A photograph. Daniel waited, then slowly picked it up. It was a picture of him sleeping, taken from inside his bedroom. Daniel dropped it. His phone buzzed. A message from the unknown account. One sentence. "You brought him home." Daniel backed away from the door. Behind him, from his dark hallway, a floorboard creaked. Daniel turned. There was nothing there, but his bedroom door was open. He was sure he had closed it. Inside the bedroom, his closet door moved, just an inch, then another. Daniel raised the knife. "Marcus, this isn't funny." From inside the closet, a child's voice whispered, "He wears the faces of people who are afraid." Daniel ran out of the apartment. He spent the night in his car. At sunrise, he drove to Marcus's house. Marcus's car was in the driveway. His front door was open. Daniel called his name. No answer. Inside, the house was silent. Daniel found Marcus's phone on the living room floor. The screen was cracked. There was one video recorded at 3:17 a.m. Daniel pressed play. The video showed Marcus sitting on his bed crying. He was whispering, "I didn't go in. I didn't go all the way in. I stayed near the door." Then something knocked from inside his closet. 3 slow knocks. Marcus turned the camera toward it. The closet door opened. For a second, the screen went black. Then Marcus screamed. The camera fell, and in the darkness, a voice whispered, "Daniel is next." The video ended. Daniel called the police. They found no sign of forced entry. No blood, no struggle, no Marcus, only muddy child-sized footprints across the bedroom floor. The police questioned Daniel for 6 hours. He told them everything. The house, the girl, the footage, the photograph. They did not believe him. Of course they did not. By the time they checked Black Pine Road, the house was empty. No plates on the table, no toy horse, no footprints, no backpack, nothing, just dust and rot. But Daniel knew what he had seen. He knew what had followed him. For 3 days, he stayed with his sister. He did not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard the whisper, "Daniel." On the 4th night, he received another message from M. "You can give him back." Daniel typed with shaking fingers. "How?" The reply came instantly. "Return before midnight. Bring the camera. Enter through the front door. Leave through the back." Daniel stared at the message. Then another one appeared. Do not look upstairs. Daniel knew it was a trap, but Marcus was gone, and whatever had taken him was now standing in Daniel's dreams, waiting. So Daniel went back. This time, he did not bring extra batteries. He did not bring a flashlight, only the camera. The night was colder than before. Black Pine Road was swallowed in fog. The house waited at the end like it had never moved, never aged, never forgotten him. The gate was open. Daniel walked through. The front door was open too. That was when he understood. The house had not been keeping people out. It had been choosing who to let in. Daniel stepped inside. The door closed behind him. The house was completely dark, but his camera screen showed more than his eyes could see. On the screen, the hallway was lit by pale light. The wallpaper was fresh. The floor was clean. Pictures hung on the walls. A family lived here once. A mother, a father, a little girl, and something else. In every photo, there was a tall shape behind them, blurred, smiling. Daniel walked forward. The house creaked around him. From upstairs came a soft voice. "Help me." It sounded like Marcus. Daniel stopped. "Do not look upstairs." The voice came again. "Daniel, please." He gripped the camera and kept walking. The back door was at the end of the hallway, only 20 feet away. Then the little girl appeared in front of it. Her hair covered her face. Her muddy feet left prints on the floor. "You shouldn't have come back," she whispered. Daniel's voice trembled. "What is he?" The girl slowly lifted her head. Where her face should have been, there was only darkness. "He is the man who lived in the walls." The house groaned. From upstairs, heavy footsteps began. One step, then another, coming down. The girl pointed to Daniel's camera. "He likes being seen." Daniel looked at the camera screen. At the top of the staircase stood a tall figure, too tall. Its head bent sideways under the ceiling. Its arms hung almost to the floor. Its face was pale and stretched, and it was smiling. Daniel backed away. The figure took one step down, then another. Daniel remembered the message, "Bring the camera." He lifted it. The figure stopped. Its smile faded. Daniel realized then the camera had not protected him. The camera was a door. Every time he filmed the house, he had opened it wider. The figure whispered in Daniel's voice, "Keep recording." Daniel looked at the little girl. She whispered, "Break it." The tall thing screamed. Daniel raised the camera over his head and smashed it against the floor. Once, twice. The screen cracked. The house shook. The walls bent inward like lungs taking a breath. The tall figure rushed down the stairs. Daniel ran. He shoved past the little girl and grabbed the back door. Locked. Behind him, the footsteps were fast now. Too fast. He slammed his shoulder into the door. Once, twice. On the third hit, the door burst open. Daniel fell into the mud outside. The house behind him screamed. Not one voice, many. Men, women, children, all crying out at once. Daniel crawled away. The back door slammed shut. Then every window in the house lit up. For 1 second, Daniel saw faces in all of them. Dozens of faces. People who had entered, people who had never left. And in the upstairs window, Marcus stood among them. His eyes were wide. His mouth moved silently. Daniel could not hear him, but he could read the words. "Don't come back." Then the lights went out. Daniel ran to his car and drove until the sun came up. He never found Marcus. The police never found evidence. Daniel deleted his channel. He moved away from town. He never touched a camera again. But years later, a new horror channel appeared online. No host, no voice at first, just static images of abandoned places, old houses, dark roads, empty rooms. The channel grew quickly. People loved the atmosphere, the slow zooms, the whispers hidden under the music. Then one night, it uploaded a video called "The House Nobody Could Enter." The thumbnail showed the house on Black Pine Road. In the upstairs window stood a small girl. Behind her stood a tall, smiling figure, and in the corner of the image, almost hidden in the dark, was Daniel, holding a camera, smiling. The video began with 3 slow knocks. Then Daniel's voice whispered, "They said the house had been empty for 50 years. And if you listen closely near the end, beneath the music, beneath the static, you can hear Marcus screaming from somewhere upstairs.